Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradhari Jai Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Girivaradhari Jai Girivaradhari Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Yeah, please forgive me. Somehow, I don't know how this laptop hanged. Okay. um, okay. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhakta Avtaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. या पृष्ठो मुनिभिः धर्मानानाविधं शुभां नृणां वर्णाश्रमाणां च सर्वभूतहिता सदा. We'll go to the translation. We have to cover 3 verses today. In reply to questions asked by certain sages, he, Swambhuva Manu, out of compassion for all living entities, taught the diverse sacred duties of men in general and the different varnas and ashramas. This reminds me of like how when when Swambhuva Manu was requested to out of compassion for all living entities, and he described various duties of living entities and different varnas and ashramas. It reminds me that how the mercy of pure devotees, it is said that in Srimad Bhagavatam, that the essence of all Vedic literature is mentioned in the words written by pure devotees of the Lord. So when either we hear or read the literatures that pure devotees of the Lord have left for us, that is the real mercy. And sometimes if we ask how can we serve pure devotees, because we see that Srimad Bhagavatam says that by rendering service to those who are completely purified at heart, great service is done, and one develops the taste to hear about the message of Vasudeva. So many times we are like, how can we serve the pure devotees? And there in the previous one of the previous verses, Prabhupada mentions that we can serve the pure devotees of the Lord either through Vapu or through Vani, either by serving them physically. Serving them physically means assisting them in their preaching activities, uh, hosting them, cooking for them, ironing their clothes, or in some way or the other assisting in their physical presence, and that is Vapu Seva. And like for example, if a devotee comes and we arrange a very nice program and hundreds of devotees come to hear, then naturally they are very pleased. They are very pleased. And then there is Vani Seva. Vani Seva means if we just hear devotees, they are very pleased. Just like think of an example, you are speaking about Krishna, and somebody comes to hear you speaking about Krishna, then you will become very happy. You will be like, oh, this devotee has come to hear when I'm glorifying Krishna. So that devotee will become very dear to you just because they are present. Likewise, the principle of pure devotees and Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Maharaj, all our Siksha and Diksha gurus, they're all present within our heart. Prabhupada said that my spiritual master is always within my heart. Likewise, since Krishna is present, Krishna is never alone. Krishna is with all the paraphernalia, and his paraphernalia is his pure devotees. So they are always present within our hearts. And when they see, and when Krishna see that we have developed an eagerness to hear, that becomes a Vani Seva, and that itself is service to pure devotees. So, and that is the best, that is the highest amount of or highest manifestation of mercy, is when they write their realization, their bhav, their mood, their devotion, when they express it and leave it for us to access. And naturally, whom we associate, we develop those qualities. So when we associate with these pure devotees of the Lord, we develop those qualities just by association. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur has so many beautiful songs. Narottam Das Thakur has so many beautiful songs. Amara Jivan Sada Pape Ratham. Gopinath Mama Nivedana Suno. So in this way, it is their bhav, their mood. And when we hear them, read them, chant them, in any ways get in touch with them, that bhav, that mood rub onto us. And we develop those qualities. Like one devotee came and he said, I asked him, so what brings you to Krishna consciousness? He says, I want to become humble. I see devotees are very humble, genuinely, and they're genuine people. They have genuine devotion. So I want that. So naturally, with what we associate with, we develop those qualities. So Swayambhuva Manu, his pure devotion, he is expressing for the welfare of all living entities. Etata adi rajasya मनोश्चरितम् अद्भुतं वर्णितं वर्णनीयस्य tad apatyodayam shrinu. I have spoken to you of the wonderful character of Swayambhuva Manu, the original king, whose reputation is worthy of description. Please hear as I speak of the flourishing of his daughter Devahuti. So here the conversation is going on, and here it says, please, I have spoken the wonderful character of Swayambhuva Manu, the original king, whose reputation is worthy of description. By glorifying pure devotees, we derive a lot of nourishment, just by glorifying devotees. At the same time, like I was hearing one small podcast by Shivram Maharaj, and one girl asked Maharaj, Maharaj, what if when we hear criticism of a devotee, when we hear criticism of a devotee, and that criticism is actually true, there is actually fault, there is a problem, a misbehavior, there is something seriously wrong, and when we hear about that wrong thing, is that okay? And Shivram Maharaj told her that my advice to you is, do not hear, do not hear. So when we speak the criticism of devotees, or when we hear the criticism of devotees, we feel our heart goes into a lot of anxiety, lot of negative energy, negative emotions that capture our heart. That's a sign Krishna doesn't want it. Krishna is speaking from within our heart. This is not. And that's the time we are losing our spiritual potency. And slowly we'll come out, and our kind of peace in our heart, or natural kind of presence of Krishna in our heart, will go away, and we'll be filled with emotions which are not very positive. So Mara said, my advice to you is, do not hear. Even if it is true, do not hear, and do not speak. And this is something which is very important as practicing sadhakas, because the thing is, the urge to speak is there, and the urge to listen is there. Urge to speak about others' fault, and urge to hear others' fault. Those urges are there. But then Rupa Goswami says, Vachoveka, tolerate that urge to criticize, or tolerate that urge to hear. And here, this is in the opposite sense, but here it is said, Swayambhuva Manu, whose reputation is worthy of description. You glorify pure devotees, you will feel so much divinity. And that's what Bhagavatam is. Bhagavatam is glorification of devotees. How great is determination of Prahlad Maharaj. How great is the faith and smaranam of Prahlad Maharaj, or determination of Dhruv Maharaj. Um, how pure devotion Ambarish Maharaj exhibited, how none of them were affected by any material circumstances, gains being the kings, or whatever opulence and fame and other things, how they were completely using everything in the service of the Lord. Any way we glorify the devotees, divinity will come. But if we hear or criticize devotees, it has the opposite effects. That's why it is said that by the mercy of devotees, one become Krishna conscious. And the opposite is by the um, through the devotees, one can lose Krishna consciousness also. Thus ends. So now we go to the first verse, and that will be the verse we will be focusing today. Devahuti's lamentation is chapter 23. Maitra uvacha पितृभ्यां प्रस्थिते साध्वी पतिम इंगिता कोविदा नित्यं पर्यचरत् प्रीत्या भवानी वा भवन प्रभु. We'll read the synonyms for this. Maitreya Uvacha, Maitreya said, Pitribhyam, by the parents, Prasthite, at the departure, Sadhvi, the chaste woman, Patim, her husband, Ingita Kovida, understanding the desires, Nityam, constantly, Paryacharat, she served, Pritya, with great love, Bhavani, the goddess Parvati, Eva, like Bhavam, Lord Shiva, Prabhum, her Lord. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. Once again, translation. Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, which is Swambhuva Manu, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love. And the example is given as Bhavani or Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. Purport. The specific example of Bhavani is very significant. Bhavani means the wife of Bhava or Lord Shiva. Bhavani or Parvati, the daughter of the king of the Himalayas, selected Lord Shiva, who appears to be just like a beggar, as her husband. In spite of her being a princess, she undertook all kinds of tribulations to associate with Lord Shiva, who did not even have a house, but was sitting underneath the trees and passing his time in meditation. And that's why this uh, example is very synonymous, because Devahuti was also the daughter of a king, and she, with great love, constantly she served her husband Kadama Muni, and they were living in a small hermitage without any opulence. Likewise, Bhavani was the daughter of the the king of the mountain, um, but she lived with Lord Shiva and she constantly served Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva does not even have a house. So in that way, and they both, and Bhavani also serves Lord Shiva with great love. She is very, very attached to her husband. That's why she asked Lord Shiva to please speak Srimad Bhagavatam so I don't have to take birth again. And that's why when Chitraketu Maharaj smiled, Parvati Devi was not happy, because uh, she serves her husband with such love. And likewise, Devahuti exhibited that love towards her husband, loving service towards her husband. in, uh, in spite of her being a princess, she undertook all kinds of tribulations to associate with Lord Shiva, who did not even have a house, but was sitting underneath the trees and passing his time in meditation. Although Bhavani was the daughter of a very great king, she used to serve Lord Shiva just like a poor woman. Similarly, Devahuti was the daughter of an emperor, Swambhuva Manu, yet she preferred to accept Kadama Muni as her husband. And this example of Lord Shiva and Kadama Muni are very relevant also, because Lord Shiva, although Parvati was there and she was very beautiful, Lord Shiva was not distracted. And Lord Shiva would always be in her meditation. And Parvati would just serve him. Likewise, Kadama Muni, although they were married, it is said that for many, many years, Kadama Muni was completely unaffected by her beauty, although he glorifies her because of um, um, he was so strict in his practices and he has such attachment towards the Lord. and he was so disciplined in uh, the purpose of life, which is to glorify the Lord and to develop my attraction towards the Lord. So that's why this example is very appropriate. Yet she preferred to accept Kadama Muni as her husband. Um, Today's day and age, usually um, girls look for husband's qualification, education, how good look the person looks, how what kind of job he has. But previously, neither Lord Shiva nor Kadamuni has any job. Or, um, I mean, Kadamuni is a Muni. Um, he's attractive because he is Krishna's pure devotee. But the only thing that was observed was pure devotion, sincerity of a devotee. Swambhuva Manu, yet she preferred to accept Kadama Muni as her husband. She served him with great love and affection, and she knew how to please him. Therefore, she is designated here as Sadhavi, which means a chaste, faithful wife. Her rare example is the ideal for Vedic civilization. Every woman is expected to be good and to be as good and chaste as Devahuti or Bhavani. So their examples are given as the most chaste woman, Parvati Devi and Devahuti. Today in Hindu society, unmarried girls are still taught to worship Lord Shiva with the idea that they may get husbands like him. Lord Shiva is an ideal husband, so we will see in what ways Lord Shiva ideal husband. Lord Shiva is an ideal husband not in the sense of riches or sense gratification, but because he's the greatest of all devotees. That's why he's the ideal husband. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Shambhu or Lord Shiva is the ideal Vaishnava. He constantly meditates upon Lord Ram and chants Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is called the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, or also called the Rudra Sampradaya. Unmarried girls worship Lord Shiva so that they can expect a husband who is as good a Vaishnava as he is. So Prabhupada, very interestingly, he is describing that why the young girls in India worship Lord Shiva. Because they want a husband like Lord Shiva. And what does it mean that they want a husband like Lord Shiva? They want a husband just like Lord Shiva is a pure worshipper of Lord Ramachandra, or the best among all the Vaishnavas. Likewise, the young girls, they worship Lord Shiva so that they can get a husband who is a great Vaishnava. That is the purpose, the real purpose behind worshipping Lord Shiva by unmarried girls. The girls are not taught to select a husband who is very rich or very opulent. Time has changed though, but the girls are not taught to select a husband who is very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if a girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva in devotional service, then her life becomes perfect. So a girl is considered very fortunate, very, very fortunate, if she gets a husband who is a devotee of the Lord. Then her life becomes perfect if the husband is a devotee of the Lord. The wife is dependent on the husband, and if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal for householders' life. So the husbands, they are supposed to be the best among all the Vaishnavas. They should aspire to be best among all the Vaishnavas. And how can they attain that state? By um, menially serving their spiritual master and taking instructions from their spiritual master. This is Vedic culture, where the wife is devotedly, lovingly engaged um, in the service of her husband, who is a great Vaishnava. It is also mentioned one of the plays. This is a little controversial, but Prabhupada says, but one is not bound to follow if the husband is not a Vaishnava. Then one is not bound. And there are different things Prabhupada says about those circumstances. One of the things that is mentioned about a woman in this verse is her chastity. Her chastity is like how they would express their chastity to their husband in the previous ages is when the husband is out, they would not dress themselves opulently. They would they would act very unattractively because they were chaste to their husband. And when the husband would come, then they would dress themselves very attractively. Just one of the aspect of chastity. And it is mentioned that they would render service with lot of love, because um, like what my spiritual master mentioned is the husband should be seen. It's either way right, but just based on the context of the verse I am speaking in one direction. But it should be seen that husband should be a great devotee, a sincere Vaishnava. And when the husband is sincere Vaishnava, and if the wife lovingly serves the husband, then naturally, just like lovingly serving pure devotees, one receives the blessings. And one receives the blessings, then that helps one advance very quickly. And naturally, in the previous ages, the spiritual master would not deal with the wives generally. And we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also very strict in dealing with the ladies. The Vedic culture, I mean, now time plus circumstances, Prabhupada was revolutionary for the sake of preaching. He brought the principle of, like, especially in US, because preaching is the essence and whatever it takes to help spread the message. But how it was done, like thousands of years back, was in a way it is described. Another principle is, especially when it comes to service to our spiritual masters, service to Lord Krishna, it is best if it is rendered with love. Because what really Guru and Krishna and devotees are looking for is the aspect of bhakti or the aspect of love. um, just like what pleases Krishna is the mood of love, and not what is being done for him, but with how much love it is done for him. Same principle holds true for devotees also. Um, um, how we can please and receive the blessings of devotees is not dependent upon what we are doing, but dependent upon the mood with which we are serving devotees. Our mood while serving devotees should be uh, a great eagerness to serve. Um, and when we carry love for a Vaishnava, and when we serve the devotees with love, whatever they say, we will receive lot of blessings from those devotees. But sometimes we carry service, or we carry the orders of our superiors and devotees um, as a matter of duty, just for the sake of doing. I am asked to do this, I will do this. I am asked to do this, I will do this, which is very nice. But it's something, while rendering service to devotees, what we want to cultivate is the mode of loving service. And just like the same principle holds true for Krishna, same principles hold true for senior devotees also. And that's why when we are able to lovingly serve devotees, then naturally, by the mercy of devotees, we'll get the adhikar to lovingly serve Krishna. So this principle of bhav, and like my spiritual master says, what nourishes the heart is loving exchanges. And everyone wants their heart to be nourished. And I have many practical examples where, just like there is Vidhi Marg and Raganuga Bhakti in respect to Lord Krishna, there is Vidhi service and Raganuga service with respect to service to devotees. And one is like, I am meant to serve, so I am serving. And another is like, I really want to please this Vaishnava. And this is what the word service attitude means. Service attitude is different from service. Service means I must do it because of various factors. Why? I don't want to offend him. I don't want to do. I'm afraid. Um, and I want to make progress, which is also very good. Very good motives, genuine motives. And that is one motivation. That's like a vidhi motive for serving the devotees, and rag motive for service for serving the devotees is, um, I I I have that affection for that devotee, and I really want to serve that devotee from the core of my heart. And that is actually the service attitude. Service attitude means you really want to please the devotee. Service means I will do it because I'm asked to do. Service attitude means I will always go extra mile to do something more special, something more special. And when that is the mood, that mood touches the other devotees and they become very, very happy. And like that's why, like Yugal Kishore Prabhu would say that Guru Maharaj is very mysterious in a way. You can do a lot for him and he may not be pleased, and you may give him a flower and he may be pleased. It's very difficult to understand the activities of pure devotees, because actually what really pleases the loving service is what really pleases more than service is a loving service, which is and service attitude um, will help us receive the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Seva bhav, service attitude. Okay, so I guess I'll stop here and see if there are any reflections, discussions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Please
Dandavat
keep
pranam.
Prabhu, Dhanva Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for eye-opening class. Actually, it's wonderful class.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, I have one question for many days now, and I don't want to keep this as a doubt for Kardama Muni. So, uh, Prabhuji, why? I mean, Supreme Personality of Godhead is coming in his home as a Kapila Deva, but still, why he has given priority to renunciation instead of engaging in the pastime and serving, in loving devotional service there itself, when Lord is coming in his home. So I could not understand this point.
Mm. Well, Prabhuji, it's one way to understand is that it is very difficult to understand the activities of pure devotees of the Lord. Um, um, Another way to see it as it is based on one's inspiration, Prabhu. Here, it is said one of the name of Krishna is Rishikesh. In other words, he perfectly controls the senses of the devotees. That's why his name is Rishikesh. Or the devotees are pure devotees are completely under the control of Lord Krishna, because they have no free will, or in other words, their free will is completely surrendered to serving Krishna, and they don't do anything um, that does not come from their heart. Until the time the Lord is attracting in a certain way, the Lord is attracting. And today, I mean, it should be seen as Krishna's arrangement, because when he was inspired, and when that happened, today we are glorifying so much Kadama Muni, actually. Why? Because he, for many years, he was completely absorbed in serving the Lord. And then when he saw that Devahuti was her hairs were matted with mud, she became discolored, disfigured in a way. Um, all her only bones were visible, and very thin, um, lost the effulgence or the glow on her face when she was a queen and she would take care of herself. And she became very unattractive. Um, and then her dedication to service to Kardava Muni, and Kardava Muni was completely absorbed in serving the Lord. And when she requested Kardava Muni, that my Lord, please, I want a child. Although Kadava Muni knew, Kadava Muni see that, okay, this is Lord's arrangement, now is the time. And then he could not engage in the activity for creating a child, and he had to take the Viman to where demigods go and um, have that environment so that he can give birth to a child. How I am personally seeing it, Prabhu, is Krishna's inspiration. To him, Krishna wanted him to act like this. And if he would have given childbirth day one. Okay, that's very nice. But then, because he waited so much, there are so many beautiful lessons that he taught to us of control of the senses, um, chastity of the wife, service attitude of the wife, um, his attraction and devotion to the Lord, his pure, his mode of pure goodness, and these jewels we can learn. Is that okay for you?
Yes, is that Prabhuji? He immediately left. I forgot that context. So he immediately left right after the giving birth to.
Yes, Prabhu. And Kapila Muni told, sorry, the Lord told Kardama Muni that after I take birth, you leave. First,
Okay.
actually, he gave birth to many daughters.
Yeah.
I think 10 or 11 daughters. And then Kapila Muni came and then he left.
Okay, Prabhuji. That is yes. Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank,
Thank you. This
thank
clarity.
you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anything else? Any other discussion?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hmm,
Prabhuji,
Devendra.
question. I like the point which you shared. Multiple aspects. I like the point which you talked about being a grasta. How I just added there how a husband or wife have to serve each other to actually achieve that higher goal. That was wonderful. And I like the last point the most, which is what is the meaning of serving is to please, and how would you please not just I'm supposed to do what I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Going an extra mile is amazing point, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my own realization also. I shared before, but I'll share again that one Prabhupada disciple came. He stayed in Krishna house for 3 weeks. So I was making breakfast for him. I'll go out and I will give him lunch where he came for a particular purpose. So I would go to where he would do his work in the daytime and I would give him lunch there. And when he would come back, then I would give him hot milk and whatever his requirement was. So I was doing it for many days, and it uh, just there is an opportunity service, and I was doing it as a matter of vidhi. And then one family came and they told him that please come to our home for prasadam, and they had such a love and respect. And then this Prabhupada disciple, he accepted. He went to their home, and they made such opulent feast. And I was thinking, this is the difference. And actually, um, I'm not going in detail, but I could see that they receive lot more mercy by that one instance than what I was doing for so many days. Because what I was doing is for the matter of doing. Okay, this is my service I have to do. And what they added along with their services, they added their bhav, they added their love for this Prabhupada disciple. And that's why he was very pleased. And I was like, okay, I failed. But this devotee, it was a eye-opening experience, and I'm just sharing that today. Thank you. I'm a Vidhi Bhakta, so I'm Vidhi Bhakta everywhere. Anything else? Okay. So
Hare
we'll
Krishna.
end.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavarpanam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, that's a nice point. Like when you hear some prajalpa about devotees, even though it's true that something they did something wrong, that really, Prabhuji, recently I heard first time, and that disturbing me the next day chanting, Prabhuji. That's not
Mhm.
disturbing me the whole day, but while I'm chanting, the thought is keep coming, and why they are, how come they can do that? How come they can like that? I couldn't able to focus. That really true, Prabhuji. So we don't need to care about what's going on like that, Prabhuji. So I'm not going to listen again and again. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavarpan.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. I'm also trying to work on it. Thank you. Niskin Chitta Prabhu, you had something?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, recently I was reading in Bhagavatam. that you talk about the criticism of Vaishnavas, from back. So I was hearing from some very great personality, I forgot the name, that I can tolerate the thunderbolt of Indra, I can tolerate the Yamapasha, even I can tolerate trident of Shiva, but I cannot tolerate the Vaishnava offense. So that was the thing. So my question is,
Mm.
Prabhuji, if Vaishnava offense, it is so much stress in Srimad Bhagavatam, about Vaishnava offenses, and only by shelter of the pure devotee of the Lord, many devotee cross over this material existence just by serving the pure devotee. So the question is, Prabhuji, sometime, in Vaishnava community, we restrict ourselves to take more association. I mean, just to avoid the too much familiarity, sometime having too much this thing, what we can say, prajalpa, sometime it leads to it. So we have to make some distinction, right? I mean, I can associate this much to this devotee and this much, I mean, that. So is that, Prabhuji, such analysis is also kind of offense? I mean, such mentality, when we, or it is only using our intelligence, we are doing something actually, or actually always heart is always I mean, stronger than intelligence in devotional service. Whatever activities we should do from heart, but sometimes we have to take such a decisions, we have to make such a distinctions, I mean, just to avoid prajalpa. So how we can look at this,
Yeah,
Roji?
we should do that, Prabhu. That's very nice. And thank you for sharing. This is actually, I recently read also Maharaj Rahugana when he was being carried by Jad Bharat. And when he realized that Jad Bharat is a great Vaishnava, he immediately came down, bowed down, and he said, I can do all these things, but I cannot take the chance of offending a Vaishnava. And then he begged forgiveness, and that's when Jad Bharat Maharaj was pleased with him and gave him the teachings. And what you are mentioning, Prabhu, is actually the discrimination. Discrimination is important. And what is the motive behind discrimination? Like Rupa Goswami says, whatever is favorable for your Krishna consciousness, do it. Whatever is unfavorable, reject it. So we have to see if this Sangha favorable, if this Sangha unfavorable. And if anything, if somebody criticizes us, then it's my past karma. And silent, Prabhu, remain silent. Don't speak. Because when we speak, we lose. Don't speak. Our first priority, like Prabhupada said, how can we please you the most? Prabhupada said, become pure devotee of Lord Krishna. Our first priority is somehow protect ourselves. But if some association is not favorable, avoid them. And that is discrimination, which is needed to make progress. Is it okay, Prabhu?
Thank you very much.
So is it okay? We can end here? Okay.
Very
Once-
grateful for your class, Prabhuji. Loved the point about service and service attitude, how they are different. Don't know when we'll be able to reach that state. Always stuck in.
Yeah. Same here, Mataji. Just that's why I'm sharing so that I can hear it and try to apply it myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki jai. Shri Prabhupada. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me. Very, very grateful for this Sangha. Dhanvat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Jai.
Koti
Thank you
Vaishnavendra.
so much, Prabhuji. Hare Bol. Hare
Thank you very much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Wonderful class, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji.